right, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Fusion of Honor, where we break down everything that happens on MLW Fusion and Ring of Honor. Now, in the recent times, we have been very light on MLW news. We are waiting for them to come back. We know we have Fightland October 2nd. We know we have, and actually, there is a little bit of news. We do know that Alex Shelley is going to be making his MLW debut at Fightland, but that's MLW. And that's we're going to push MLW even further to the side today on this special edition of Fusion of Honor, because we are here to talk about Death Before Dishonor, the Ring of Honor pay-per-view that just took place this past weekend. And we thought, Glory by Honor was great and Ness was there. But this time around, Ness decided to, as we said, to go to a Griselda concert instead of the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. So we said, you know what? We have somebody, we know somebody who was there, who was one of the many people in the building for this Ring of Honor pay-per-view. And we thought, why don't we bring this person on? And of course, we are talking about our good friend Dylan. Dylan, how are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me on. It's going to be a blast. The pay-per-view was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking and breaking down everything that happened on Death Before Dishonor. But Dylan is, of course, not my only co-host. You guys know him. He is the three-time baby-making champ. His son is currently being occupied by Candy and Netflix. It is a great parenting tool. I will eventually be using it down the road myself. Of which I am absolutely sure. But Ness, how are you doing today?
Doing mighty fine. True Hills, what is the deal? Thank you, Dylan, for joining us on our review. It doesn't happen too often that we get special guests, so this is a special moment.
Yes. So, guys, Death Before Dishonor emanated from the infamous 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, and kicking us off was the Honor Rumble. Now, we knew that there were going to be 15 people in this Honor Rumble. 10 had been announced. 5 were going to be surprises. Well, Ring of Honor said, you guys, how much you guys like surprises? We're going to throw another person in there, and it ended up being a 16-person Rumble. In addition to the people that we already knew were going to be in there, we had Flip Gordon, which we kind of expected, world famous CB. We had Alex Zane making his debut. He would end up winning the Rumble. And in an interesting, shocking twist, we had Caprice Coleman leaving the interview desk and getting into the Rumble. Now, I didn't get a chance to watch this, but my two co-hosts did. Dylan, we will start with you. What were your overall thoughts of the Honor Rumble, and tell us what you think about the winner?
The Honor Rumble was kind of, Ness said this earlier, it's pretty much what you expected, It was a pretty standard, straightforward Rumble. The major takeaways were Brian Johnson started out with an amazing promo. Fantastic. Great promo to start the night off. Pretty much because his whole gimmick is Mecca versus everyone, so of course he's going to be first and try to take on all other 15 competitors in that. Caprice coming out was insane. Everyone went crazy for that. Danhausen as well. Danhausen was a standout throughout the night. Obviously, I had to pick up the shirt, but he was great throughout it. As well as Alex Zane coming out, got a pretty decent reaction. It was pretty cool to see. Personally, I wasn't too high on him, but I'm interested to see what he's going to do, especially with him winning. Besides that, there wasn't really anything major that happened throughout. It was just a straightforward Rumble, honestly. So, but yeah.
Gotcha. Ness, how about you?
Yeah, I just got to echo those sentiments. It was what we expected, nothing too crazy. Nice. I didn't expect Caprice to be in it, honestly. Once he started taking off his coat, his suit jacket at the announcer's desk, I'm like, oh, what the hell is he about to do? And he's like, oh, got a surprise for you, Riccaboni, and he starts walking towards the ring. I'm like, holy shit, that's nice. But it was nice to see, a lot of the guys that usually get not too much shine week to week. They pretty much just threw them all in. A lot of the dojo guys, things of that nature. So it was nice. It was a nice little thing. They're rumbles, battle royals, clusterfucks. Nothing too crazy, but it was nice to see people getting used.
Yeah, that is true. And something else that is nice to see, guys, is when you hit that like button, comment, share, and subscribe if you have not already. It allows us to do all of the things that we do for you guys. The march to 1,600 subscribers continues, and we are growing every day. So why not consider yourself a part of the true heel community? It is something that is sure to excite you as you watch our videos. But speaking of excitement, there's a guy on the Ring of Honor roster who demands that we provide excitement to the crowds, to the people watching at home. He yearns for excitement. He thirsts for excitement. And they said, what is a great way to kick off the pay-per-view? Well, let's start with Mr. Excitement himself. Of course, we are talking about Dalton Castle taking on Eli Isom in the opening match of the pay-per-view. This this storyline has been a convoluted one. It has been pretty crazy. I again feel the most for Dak Draper in all of this. I just want better for Dak Draper, considering how when he had a pure rules title match against Jonathan Gresham, Ness was so down on him being the challenger, and then after the match, Dak Draper had won him over. Now to see him, he's killing it on commentary on these when he's there for the Dalton matches. We're busy, we're trying to raise money for space, guys. Space is huge. It needs a lot of money. Come on, those are great moments. But I really wish that he'd be able to wrestle a bit more. But I can kind of understand why he may not want to when all of a sudden you see barreling over the top rope. You see this motherfucker just trying to take you out because he's like, I am going to honor my mom. And, nothing is going to keep me from getting these wins. Even Dalton Castle was like, wait a minute. Whoa, guys, did you know this was going to happen? Did you know this was going to happen? And throughout the match, which went just over 9 minutes, it was a nice opener, a lot of action. We saw Dak Draper leave the commentary table. We saw a lot of back and forth between the two of them. Dalton Castle picking up the win over Eli Isom, who looked really game ready. This was a match that I think did a lot for Eli Isom. A lot of times, quite famously, people have asked Vince McMahon, what's the second most important match on the card? Because obviously the main event is the most important. And Vince has said the first match on the card, because that's how you get the crowd going. You keep them amped up. And that's a lot of faith to put in somebody like Eli Isom, especially somebody on the rise. And we've seen it. So I thought it was a good match, a good spot for them. I gave this one about 2.5 stars. Ness, we'll start with you. What did you think about this?
Yeah, 2.5 stars. I think that's fair for this match. Pretty decent opener. I definitely have to agree with that. They've been giving Eli Isom a lot of opportunities, and he's been delivering on all of them, in my opinion. So having him up going against a former world champion, someone as huge star power wise in Dalton Castle, is a great look for Eli Isom. Also, it plays up on the fact that Dalton Castle and Dak Draper are busy. So you give them the opening match, they do what they got to do. Yeah. They get the fuck out of there and go about their business. So it all works out. And coming down to the finish, we had a feeling that, Dak Draper would be the X factor in this match, would lead to Dalton Castle picking up the win over Eli Isom. Eli has nothing to worry about. Dirty finish, took two guys to beat him. So at the end of the day, he still looks strong. It's good for everybody all around in this story.
Yeah. Dylan, what did you think about this one?
So, yeah, this match I thought was all right. If I would give it a rating, to be fair, being there live, I feel like the ratings are pretty skewed. So I feel like if I was watching at home, it would be a 2.5. I gave it a 3 out of 5, again, just because of the live factor. In my opinion, Dalton Castle, I love the gimmick. Surprisingly, knowing my taste in wrestling, John, you can attest to this.
That's true.
Surprisingly, I actually really like the gimmick, and I really think he does it well, as well as his entrance music. I love as well. It's pretty much like a knockoff Radio Gaga. So good. Eli has a ton of potential. Kid's a high flyer. I could see him doing a lot, especially when given the right opponents, especially with someone like Dalton Castle, who has the experience to lead him in the ring. So yeah, it was a good match. It was one of my issues with the card though is I wish it was spaced better. You know what I mean?
That's fair, yeah.
Because I feel like we started the night with Dalton Castle and Eli, then in the Taylor, Russ, Jake out. You know what I mean? I wish we maybe got like the trios match first and then Dalton Castle versus, you know what I mean? But yeah, again, still a pretty good match. Good way to start the show.
Yeah, and Dylan kind of gives away our next match, which is a meeting of two people who are recently signed, sort of, or just as we will, a few days later find out. Well, at least one of them is definitely a one-off appearance. But it is the recently released Taylor Rust versus the also recently released Jake Atlas, and I was really hoping, like, before we got the announcement that it was going to be Bobby Fish was going to be one of them. So this was kind of a little bit of a letdown. But at the same time, these two guys went out there and had a really, really good match. This was a great story being told of Taylor Rust coming in there and trying to just wear Jake Atlas down. Jake Atlas refusing to give up. And what's interesting is that they packed a lot into a match that was under 7 minutes long. That's what kind of stood out to me about this match. We saw a lot of just heavy hitting action. And even when Jake Atlas went outside of the ring, he was trying to, despite the fact that he was going outside of the ring, the match felt long and short at the same time. Like they could have easily gone a few more minutes, but at the same time, it felt almost perfect the length of time that it went. In the end, Rust does pick up the submission win. Like I said, this was just under 7 minutes. It was 6:55. And as we found out, I think it was yesterday, Jake Atlas is taking a step away from wrestling. For his own mental and emotional health, and that's something that is incredibly important. We just saw what happened with Daphne, and our hearts and prayers still go out to her and her family. And we also know of what happened shortly thereafter when WWE announced that they were going to be providing mental health counseling and therapy for all their people. And Jake Atlas spoke up about that when Carl Anderson said, fuck this company regardless. So again, shout out to Jake Atlas. And if this was his last match, it was a really, really good way to go out. I gave this one 3 stars. Dylan, we'll start with you this time. What'd you think about this one?
So one quick comment about the whole Jake Atlas thing. Well, as well as the pay-per-view. I'm not sure if this came on the live feed. However, they did do a 10-bell salute with all of the everyone in the backstage coming out to the ring to kick off.
I don't know if we caught that.
But it was on the Honor Rumble. It was before.
Okay.
Yeah, it was before the show officially started.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I just wanted to note that was a really good gesture, and I just wanted to note that because we didn't touch on it before.
Gotcha.
As well as Jake Atlas, I hope he's doing all right. And honestly, this was a really good match. Taylor, I said this earlier, but he reminds me. He looks like a young Pac or an Adrian Neville, or you know what I mean. He has that same type of body, maybe a little bit taller, but he was really impressive. One thing I will comment on being there live. So we'll talk about it later once we get to the Roxy match. But where I was sitting, there was a giant pole blocking my view. I wish I took a picture of this, but it kind of blocked a little bit of like my view. However, this was still a good match. I'm surprised. Hey, there I am. You can actually, I'm pretty sure that's the pole if you look closely. But either way, yeah, it was a pretty great match. It felt a lot longer. I was surprised when you said it was under 7 minutes because in person it definitely felt a lot longer. However, it was a really good match. They had really good chemistry together. I gave it a 3 out of 5 as well. And I'm really excited. I believe Taylor's actually going to be in the Pure division, which is really exciting to me. So, yeah.
Yeah. Ness, how about you?
Yeah, I got to give it a 3 out of 5 as well. Great showing for Taylor Rust. I wasn't really familiar with how long he's been wrestling because when we seen him in NXT under the Diamond Mine, he was there for like 2 weeks and they cut him. I don't even really remember anything he did prior to. Yeah, he had like one, maybe 2 matches. One I definitely remember.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, he was released. But here he looked phenomenal. He looked so much better than what I did see in NXT. He does look like someone that can be a staple in the pure division. He was just going from transition to transition, submission here, just wailing on Jake Alize. And, no slight to Jake either. He was definitely dishing some of the offense back, and then his selling was great as well. But the takeaway I got from this match was really that, they are all in on Taylor Rust, and I can't wait. I like to see him with the foundation if they pick up more members to the group or whatnot. Or does he go, is he going to stand on his own? Or does he, try to get in with the dojo guys? Wherever they go with it, I would just like to see more of him and going against other seasoned guys as well, because I think he's going to put on some real great matches.
Absolutely. And speaking of the pure division, we turn to our first of 2 6-man tag matches where we have Violence Unlimited with Chris Dickinson, Homicide, and Tony Deppen taking on the past with John Walters, the present with LSG, and the future of AEW with Lee Moriarty in this great 6-man tag match. This was just under 11 minutes. It's 10 minutes and 58 seconds, but this was incredible action. There were, John Walters looking like he is much younger than he actually is. And we have this man trying, some of these things were just absolutely insane. And it was kind of funny to me because LSG, who was supposed to be the present, kind of seemed the weakest part of his team. And John Walters was showing out, Lee Moriarty was showing out, but then there's honor and violence, and sometimes that violence is too much for submission wrestling to overcome. Yeah, you can tap out somebody. It's hard to be violent if you can't move your limbs, but when you have people who are just professionals when it comes to violence, Chris Dickinson, who just looks like he's gonna kill somebody, Homicide, who has homicide in his name,
who probably has killed somebody,
and then there's Tony Deppen, who looks like if Homicide and Dickinson gave him a gun and were like, "You got to shoot this person," maybe he'd be able to pull it off. We've continually said this on Fusion of Honor that Tony Deppen, I don't know why, just looks completely like the odd man out in Violence Unlimited, because he does not look like he can hurt people as much. He has been getting better, but his facial expressions, especially when they're coming to the ring, are absolutely hilarious. I'm looking at him and I'm just it just looks as though he's coming to the ring and it's him and then his 2 uncles who are ready to beat the shit out of anybody. And then it's like Scooby-Doo bringing Scrappy along. Hey, come on with us. Your dad Brody's busy. He's got something he's got to do in the backyard. You got to come with us, and we got to go handle some stuff. But Tony Deppen did have a good showing in this match. I gave this one 3.5 stars because of just how incredible they played against each other. They played strength against strength of violence versus technical wrestling, and I think it worked out very, very well. Ness, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, actually, I gave this 3.5 stars as well. It's funny going into this match, Violence Unlimited, it's like, oh, we'll take on any pure wrestlers from the past, present, and future. So ultimately, they're thinking they're just going to be a walk in the park and they're just going to beat them easily. John Walters and Lee Moriarty made sure that it wasn't that easy for them to get this win. As I like LSG, but yeah, he just really didn't show up for this match. I don't know if that was supposed to be a part of the plan, whatever the case may be. But yeah, definitely John Walters and Lee Moriarty carried this match for their side of the team anyway. And of course, just like we said on our preview for Death Before Dishonor, it was going to be Lee Moriarty taking that pin for everything
Yep.
going on between him. Not even just between him and Ring of Honor and AEW, but after they signed that, after he got that contract and he took it, they're like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna take this pin too."
Dylan, how about you? What did you think about this one?
So yeah, I really enjoyed the match. John, you know my feelings about Violence Unlimited.
Yes, you are a big Violence Unlimited fan.
I am a big Violence Unlimited fan. They're easily my favorite group right now. Like you were saying earlier about Tony Deppen, he's kind of the odd one out, but it works really well. He reminds me of a very classic kind of just like chicken shit heel, pretty much. Just like he's so good, and I'm a big fan of Violence Unlimited, as well as the crowd is too. People were going nuts for them, and there was so many signs throughout the crowd. I don't know if they showed it on the air of just signs saying "Sign Tony Deppen."
Yes,
literally.
Yes, yeah.
So many signs of that, and people love them. I don't know why they took the belts off them, but that's another story. However, really good match, honestly. Like you were saying, LSG was probably the one that kind of felt off of the night. Lee looked great throughout the match. I was really impressed with him, and I'm actually really excited to see what he does in AEW. I gave it a 3 out of 5, but it was a really enjoyable match. As well as, I'm not sure if we're going to talk about it separately, but the Jay Lethal promo at the end was really great as well.
Yeah, we're coming up next, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I will say, I know this is not what we cover, but if they do, because we know how much AEW loves factions, if we get a technical submission faction that involves Bryan Danielson and Lee Moriarty and some other people, that'll be really
honestly
good.
I've heard people talk about that, like even before Bryan debuted. They said that they one of the people that they wanted to be in it was Daniel Garcia, and I'm not opposed to that. Get him away from 2.0. I think they're really wasting this kid with them because it's comedic, and he can actually go. So
yeah.
That could be one person that they go in that direction with.
I think he needs Red Death is a great name, but I think he needs an animal because Daniel's the dragon, Moriarty's got Tiger style. You do like a dangerous animals kind of thing, and that'd be kind of interesting. But as Dylan alluded to, we do after the match have the 3 members of the foundation come out. Gresham is still preparing for his match up against Josh Woods, but Lethal comes out, and we have, I think, other Pure Wrestler members on the up on the stage. And Lethal cuts a pretty good promo. Parts of it confused me because he was talking about, like, he was saying we and like I guess royal we, but he's including himself. He's talking about growing up watching people like Samoa Joe, and I was like, dude, you wrestled Samoa Joe. Like, what is he talking about?
To be fair, he was Joe's like young boy or understudy and stuff. He's just trying to like, I'm one of you guys too, even though I'm like one of the greatest world champions in history.
It's like they call me the franchise, but I'm still up and coming. It felt weird. That part of, however, the sentiments behind the promo were very strong and were heartfelt. That Pure Wrestling is going to be something that separates Ring of Honor from other companies, which is very true. Yeah. And I think that the promo itself was well done because he's putting over everybody in the ring, including Lee Moriarty. And it's kind of funny because, he's saying, like, I wish you were staying, but, and then later he's like shaking everybody's hand. He's like, even you traitor. So it was a great moment for the Pure division, especially because we know that 2 of our Pure Wrestling heavyweights are going to be going at it very, very soon. And I say very soon because there's one match before they can do that, and that is not a Pure Rules match. This is a kind of a car crash match to a certain extent, and it is when the OGK take on the Briscoes. So this is 13 minutes long, and this is a fun little match here where the OGK are going up against the Briscoes. There wasn't too much heat behind this match between the 2 teams, but I felt as though they got some heat with each other while the match was going on. They were battling all over, both in the ring and outside of the ring. We have Nice moments where we're getting some classic Briscoes action. As usual, Mark Briscoe doesn't really know what he's doing before he does it, which always works out well for him and his opponents somehow. But there is a chair that is introduced in this match, as you can see, and that chair will be something that affects the overall outcome of the match. We kind of predicted that the OGK were going to get this win. Whether or not they deserved it is a different story. But I will say that after they get the win, Taven being like, "Yes, I'm back. I beat the Briscoes. Thank God," was a nice little moment for him. He doesn't have to be crying backstage like he was after he lost that cage match to Vinny. But Dylan, what were your thoughts on this, particularly because you were definitely in favor of the Briscoes winning?
Yeah. So the Briscoes are probably my favorite tag team. I love Violence Unlimited, but Briscoes are overall, I'm a big fan of them. And I would love to see a program between Briscoes and Violence Unlimited, but that's another story. But Briscoes are really good. I'm not a big Matt Taven fan. I can see why people like him. I get why, but I don't know. I'm just not too big on him, honestly. However,
You don't want to follow the trend?
I guess. Yeah, honestly, it was a pretty good match. I was disappointed with the winner, but I understand why this was kind of Matt Taven's big kind of like rebound in a sense. And the Briscoes aren't really hurt by losing this match. As well as, I'm not sure if you could tell on the pay-per-view, but this happened at the last pay-per-view as well. Matt Taven's either girlfriend, wife, something is in the crowd, and she is screaming throughout the entire match. And the same thing happened during the cage match. And you can tell it's his wife, girlfriend, whatever, because she has a purple mask and she has like a Taven shirt. And I was getting frustrated. And I think some people around me as well were getting frustrated. Some people around me as well were getting frustrated as well. So I know I was not the only one. So, but either way, it was a solid match, honestly. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Again, I love the Briscoes, so. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with Taven, though, after this point.
Yeah, that'll be something to pay attention to and to look forward to. Ness, what were your thoughts on this one?
I enjoyed this match a lot more than I was expecting to.
Yeah.
I like the fact that to me, it felt like 2014, 2015 Kingdom versus the Briscoes in a sense. This match didn't have any heat, but it quickly picked up some heat as the match is going on. I don't know if OGK is going to be turning heel somewhere down the line because Taven was in there talking a lot of shit. He was talking a lot of shit to the Briscoes, and Mike Bennett behind him. You know, he's going to stand behind his boys, so he was talking a lot of shit back too. I don't know. Maybe I think probably the crowd, as Dylan said, like they were behind the Briscoes, and I guess OGK just wanted to play up on that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this match. A lot of action that I wasn't expecting. One thing, and it's not even for the performers here. So you mean to tell me, Todd Sinclair,
oh boy,
that they can't bring in a chair to even just use as a stepping stool of some sorts to jump off of it, but you allow Roosh to continuously use the wires around the. All right, I'm not even gonna go that. Great match. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm gonna be a high man here. I give this 3 3/4 stars. I enjoyed this match a lot just because I didn't expect it to be this good. Not that the talent in it wasn't that good, but after we seen Matt Taven lose the cage match, thought he was just going to be going on a downward spiral. Didn't really think he was going to bring that edge that we really expected him to. But they definitely showed up for this match, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really like Caprice and Riccaboni being like, well, they're not going to use the chair; they use it to jump off of stuff.
Yeah, I know. Especially at the last pay-per-view, it wasn't this much at this one, but the crowd. I remember last pay-per-view were chanting "fuck Todd Sinclair" as he was coming out to the ring. People hate Todd Sinclair, and we'll get to the Woods and Gresham match because there's a funny spot in that. But yeah, people hate Todd Sinclair, and I find it hilarious.
Yeah. Todd Sinclair has a very, very weird double standard when it comes to.
Oh, it definitely showed on this pay-per-view too, because especially that pure titles match.
Maybe you know what? We'll shoot Todd a little bit of bail. We'll say that maybe you know, if the Briscoes are bringing in a chair, they could hurt Mike Bennett or Matt Taven, but particularly Mike Bennett. And we do know that there is somebody on the board of directors for Ring of Honor who has some pull. You know, that's the only thing that's missing from making this a 2014-2015 Kingdom Briscoes match, is if Maria Bennett actually gave a fuck about what was happening to her husband. But, you know, apparently she doesn't. She's too busy trying to figure out this women's division and trying to book that. But she has control over the women's division. One thing she does not have control over is the pure division, as far as we know. And this pure division is at the forefront of wrestling for many different reasons. But if there was one reason we had to strip everything away and say, what's the number one reason that this pure division is so damn good? Well, it's because the champion has 8 arms and can tap you out with any single one of them. The Octopus John Gresham, coming into his 13th Pure Rules match. We quite famously started reviewing Ring of Honor when they came back with the Pure title tournament. We watched the rise of Gresham, who was already was one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet, and is, I mean, it's either him or Zack Sabre Jr. always as who is going to be getting the Bryan Danielson Technical Award from PWI and from Meltzer every year. But Gresham has continually shown out, and especially in the tournament, and then once he got the title, he has continued to find new and innovative ways to tap people out. He has beaten everybody with a different move. It's absolutely incredible to see, especially when you also factor in that in almost every single match, actually pretty much every single match, he has at the size disadvantage. So he's finding ways to put people into submission moves when he should not be able to put them in submission moves. I mean, I remember when that match against Dak Draper, when he's choking him out on the outside after turning the suicide dive into a backpack a choke. So incredible stuff. But on the flip side, we have Josh, the technical beast, Woods. The man who has been on a tear. He finally got past his mentor, Silas Young. We know that in the Pure title tournament, he is the only person that Gresham had to pin. Gresham could not make Woods submit. He tapped out everybody else but Woods. There's a reason for that. We have been waiting for this match for some time. I think Ness and I both had this penciled in as match of the night. And at first, on my first time I watched this, I was not that big of a fan of the match because of the shenanigans that ensued. But upon a second viewing, they've won me. They've pulled me around. This match was really, really good. So the story that's being told here is that both men refuse to give up any kind of jockeying for position against the other. They are going to continually tie themselves up in the ropes. And as a result, they're both going to get charged with rope breaks. Eventually, we're going to get to the point where there is kind of there's actually a weird moment where Gresham, I think it was a German suplex. Gresham takes a German suplex, and it looks as though he was actually pinned, but his arm is kind of just up enough off of the mat where the ref gives them, says, oh, he kicked out. A lot of people, I saw this on Squared Circle and I saw this on Reddit, a lot of people think that Gresham actually was concussed and that he happened to just have his arm up in the air, and that's what saved the match. But we keep going back and forth. There is a double pin moment, and Gresham says, no, we are not going out that way. I am not having this be a blemish on my record. Now, we have seen this kind of slow turn of Gresham to have a little bit more hubris, a little bit more pride, a little bit more of an ego when it comes to his matches. He's thinking to himself, I've already knocked down 12. You're gonna be lucky number 13, or maybe unlucky number 13 if Josh has anything to say about it. So they restart the match, And they start, to me, originally, I felt as though the match didn't really begin until the match was restarted. But I understand now, like, I get why that whole thing happened in the beginning. But this match was absolutely incredible. Both parts put together were really, really well done. These are two incredibly talented wrestlers, as we've been saying before. There's another shot of one of those sleepers that that Woods had puts Gresham in. This was really well. Why do I have double? Whatever. But this, yeah, that's what I was looking for. That incredible German that Woods is putting Gresham through. One thing I will say that is really crazy about this match is that and maybe this is a callback to the title tournament, Woods could not make a Gresham tap out. He had to go for a pinfall, which leaves the room open for a potential rematch down the road where Gresham points out, rightfully, you didn't tap me out. And then Woods can reply, well, you didn't tap me out. And then maybe they do something within the pure rules that say pinfalls won't count and it must be a submission win. And that will be something that will be really well done. And, considering that Gresham was 385-day reign, it will be over a year callback to the title tournament match and then to this match where Woods finally puts Gresham away. Thank you, sir, for your service. And I appreciate you being at Warrior Wrestling while you still had the title so I could hold the Ring of Honor Pure title. But I gave this match combined, like the first half, back half, all that kind of stuff. I gave this one 4.25 stars. Ness, we'll start with you. What did you think about this one?
I honestly gave this match 4.5 stars. This will be the highest rating match in my personal opinion on this card. It did get weird from the beginning, but gradually as it started going, and then definitely to the second half of the match, I said, okay, this makes sense.
And then he froze.
Oh, yeah, I froze?
No, just for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, when the match is starting and, they're just like, I'm not going to let you get get one up on me as far as like, oh, I'm not going to be the first one to, give up the rope break and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, well, somebody has to give a rope break. And then it just kept like, it happened once, then it happened twice, then it happened again. It just kept happening. So then eventually the ref is like, all right, you know what? Enough of this shit. Take rope break away for both of them. So I'm like, all right, they'll learn their lesson. No, the fuck they did not. So it continues to happen. And then it's just like, all right, take another one away from them. I'm like, all right, guys, you got to get it together. But in the between the the loss of the rope breaks, it's a lot of action going on. It's a lot of back and forth between the two of them. Gresham, again, his size, him being at a disadvantage with Woods being so much bigger than him, but he was working Woods, like a lot of different transitions, getting out of the holes that Woods had on him. A lot of striking between the two of them. It was nice back and forth, and then eventually their egos get right back to the point where they don't want to be the ones that release the other person, and they just lose all of their all the rope breaks, and then eventually the double pin. I like the fact that Gresham says like, no, I'm not going out this way. This isn't going to be a tarnish on my championship reign. Regardless, he would have been champion. I love the fact that he didn't say, no, I'm not going to take the easy way out. I'm not going to, win this on a technicality or retain this on a technicality. Like, no, I'm going to win this match. I'm going to beat him. I mean, it didn't happen, but I'm going to beat Josh Woods and continue to call myself the best or the greatest pure title holder of all time. So even in that sense, when they did restart the match, even Woods said, hey, look, thank you. Like, I appreciate you. You didn't have to do that. You could have just took the title and, you would have won. And that would have been the end of that. But going back to the second half of the match, no more rope breaks, no more. And that's even better for them, honestly, because at the first I didn't think about it. Like now the ref can't disqualify you guys anymore. You can be hugged up in the ropes for as long as you want. I mean, the match isn't going to end. So eventually one of you is going to have to let go of it so the other person can get the upper hand. But, eventually it comes down to Woods with the roll up. So eventually, I hope that they do come back to this at some point. It doesn't really need to happen like within the next week or month, anything like that. We'll talk about that. I'll speak more on Gresham's part of that once we get to the end of the show. But yeah, this was a great match. It was a lot of back and forth. I think the fact that it was pretty much like 2 matches in one has a lot to do with my rating, because again, it was everything that built up in the first match that got us to the second match, where there was like, or the second part of the match where it's like, all right, there's no more saving each other. We have to come to a finish. And they literally did just that. So yeah, 4.5 stars. It was a great match. Definitely it's Josh Wood's time, man. It was time to pull that trigger. As much as I love Gresham's run and everything he's done, yeah, it's definitely time. And this is a perfect guy to even continue the legacy of the revamped Pure title. So great job for Josh Woods.
Yeah, and important to note, if you guys are keeping score at home, this means that the Foundation now have 0 championships in the faction war that is ongoing. But Dylan, what were your thoughts on this one?
So I did have a quick question for you, John. Because I don't think you mentioned it. Did you say how long the overall matches were?
The total is 20 minutes and 1 second. It's the longest match of the night.
Gotcha. Yeah. So going into this match, this was penciled in like you guys were saying. This was the match I was most excited for. It's what sold me on going to the show. I wanted to see this match more than anything. I am a massive fan of Josh Woods, and so because of that as well, because like I was saying, I had that giant pole in front of me. I literally went underneath the hard camera and was standing up and watching the entire match because I was like, I need to see this clearly because this is.
Oh, so that's why you want to know how long the match was, to know how long he was standing.
Yeah, I was a massive fan of this match, and I was a little disappointed in the crowd, honestly, because the ref, I think, did a perfect job. He did exactly what he needed to do to get the match under control, but the crowd hated it. There were chants saying, "Bring out Todd." I don't know if that got caught on the pay-per-view, but there were literally people.
Yeah, it definitely did. It did.
So. Yeah, but I personally loved it. I love the restart. I love the reasoning why behind it because, again, Gresham's character is getting this point where we'll talk later, but there's a chance he's going to start switching heel. So I really like that kind of cockiness from him, and it made so much sense for the storyline. I was just a massive fan. The concuss thing, I wasn't aware of. It definitely, that little pinfall was weird, and a lot of people reacted like, what? You know what I mean? It kind of got that reaction, and I was confused as well. But mentioning that, it kind of made sense. But he seemed perfectly fine right after, so I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, people are trying to figure out whether or not, because he did seem as though he was, but to your point, he was speaking on the microphone pretty much fine, right after.
Exactly. So yeah, it was odd. But overall, this was my match of the night. The only one close was the women's title match, which we'll get into later. But I love this match. This was such a great match. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. The only thing is that I wish there was a little bit more back and forth before the final kind of pinfall. Not the final pinfall, but the double pinfall is what I was trying to say. But
gotcha.
Yeah, overall, great match. I loved it. Easily my match of the night.
And we want to take this time to yet again say thank you, Jonathan Gresham, for 385 days of incredible pure wrestling. He is the longest reigning champion of all time. He passed Nigel McGuinness, who had 350 days. And now Jonathan Gresham is the longest reigning of all time. It's kind of crazy, though, because Nigel had that. This is, of course, because of COVID and everything, but Nigel had that title for 350 days and had 17 title defenses. Gresham, 385 and 7 title defenses. So what we could have seen, but for COVID, would have been something that was really, we were kind of robbed of that in a sense. But speaking of being robbed, let's talk about this 6-man tag team championship match. I try. As Ness knows, I try to make sure that my transitions are on point.
Yeah, of course. That it was, sir. That it was.
But speaking of being robbed, we have Shane Taylor Promotions versus LFI. the 6-man tag team championships are on the line. And LFI says, well, Roosh is out with this knee injury, so we think it's only fair that you guys lose somebody too. And Kenny King, of course, it's always Kenny King, that asshole, comes out of nowhere with a steel chair and starts wailing on Shane Taylor of Shane Taylor Promotions. Shane Taylor cannot compete in this match, which in and of itself, I was like, wait a minute. What? No, come on. I saw this man go through barricades against Brody King back in December. You mean to tell me that like 3 chair shots, and Kenny didn't even look like he was hitting him that hard, are enough to pull him out of this match? But in a way, it kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense to everything that Shane Taylor has been doing when it comes to his group, his faction. And O'Shea Edwards replaces Shane Taylor in this match. And we have a match. Yeah, this is turned out to be pretty interesting. I think that the 8-man tag match that we got a couple weeks ago was a great preview of this, and I think they worked out a lot of the kinks of the match in this one, and I think that's why it kind of made sense that they put O'Shea Edwards in there, because that is one of the hallmarks of Shane Taylor. He has, and Ness and I have noted this, consistently tried to, whenever they've had these 6-man matches, put the shine on Khan and Moses more than him. He will come in, he will be a hot tag, he will come in, he will clear house, he will be a pinch hitter, but he tries to make sure that the spotlight is on Khan and Moses. And here he is able to do that with O'Shea Edwards, who recently joined Shane Taylor Promotions, but has not had that kind of statement moment or statement kind of match. This was maybe Shane Taylor's way of giving that to him. And it works because we still now want to see a full-powered Shane Taylor Promotions trio versus a full-powered LFI trio in a match together. Khan and Dragon Lee continuing to be the standouts for each team, continuing to be the MVPs for each team, holding their teams down. Shane Taylor Promotions was able to retain the titles. For a second, I thought maybe they were going to lose when Shane Taylor was replaced, only because Ring of Honor now has a history of, if you have to sub somebody out, your team has a very good chance of losing. I thought maybe there was an off chance they might continue that streak. But no, because of course we know that these are ingobernable bitches, and they are not good enough to be on the same level as Shane Taylor Promotions. This match went just under 11 and a half minutes. It was 11 minutes and 27 seconds. I gave this one 3 stars. Dylan, we'll start with you this time. What'd you think about this?
So overall, the match, this was kind of this was my least favorite match of the night. However, it was still a good match. Overall, I give it 2.5 out of 5. It was a good match, decent, kind of filler match. I personally got up and got my shirt during this time, so I'll say that. But overall, I'm a big fan of Kenny King. He exudes charisma. That guy, and as well as I like the whole thing of just outsmarting people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of, as well as like you said, for a second when Shane Taylor was taken out, it's like, okay, this got a lot more interesting. It wasn't like, without Roosh being there, pretty much everyone kind of expected this outcome to happen. But when Shane Taylor got attacked and taken out, it was like, okay, this kind of got a little bit more interesting. But overall, I like Shane Taylor Promotions a lot. I like their gimmick. I like their walkouts. They have a great look. I don't know. The match didn't flow for me personally. It just felt kind of too all over the place. But it was a decent match. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great though, in my opinion. But yeah, it was good. And I'm not a fan of the 2 title thing. For example, with Dragon Lee having the television championship and now the tag belt. So, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. So
yeah, for a moment I was like, oh shit, are they going to make him a triple champion?
I know that would have been So
Dragon Lee for president, if that's the case. But exactly. Ness, I know you love car crash matches. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, I that's my preference. I gave this 3 1/4. If they would have now, Dragon Lee being a triple champion, that sounds like some booking I would make for him.
That's
just
true.
because
The only thing you like more than car crashes is luchadors.
Lucha Libre, yeah, exactly. But just like you were speaking on it earlier, the fact that Shane Taylor pretty much goes out of his way to highlight the other members of his group, I think that's phenomenal. He puts his guys in positions of power, and him coming out at the end of the match to make sure that they secure the win after already going out there going head to head with LFI. I thought that was great. That was pretty much like the icing on the cake. You know, they used whatever underhanded tactics that they tried to use against them to take them out against LFI, you know, to pick up the win. And it's not like that. The rest of Shane Taylor promotions weren't holding their own either. You know, Moses and Khan, the two powerhouses, and then O'Shea Edwards. You know, and from a non-kayfabe standpoint, he was talking about how, like, you know, this is his first time wrestling on pay-per-view. I think it was his first time for his dad seeing him wrestle as well, wrestling on pay-per-view. So it just was like a good moment, a nice little feel-good moment for pretty much everybody. Not for Shane Taylor at the beginning of the match when he got taken out of the shit, but, you know, to come down and, you know, let his boys shine and then secure the win, and they can all bask in the glory, you know, so to speak. It was nice. It was a nice moment.
Yeah, it definitely was. So now we turn to what on pretty much on any other Ring of Honor pay-per-view could have easily been the match of the night.
Yeah.
But for the Josh Woods, Jonathan Gresham match, this would have been match of the night. And we are talking about the finals of the Women of Honor tournament. Maria was there in the beginning.
Yeah, she just kind of said hello, and then
it was really funny because, like, she's like holding up the title and she's like, "Damn, this is heavy. All right, hold on." And it's not even the moment when I should be holding it up. Fuck, I've missed time. Oh, I should hold it up now. Oh, okay. All right.
That was interesting.
We have the finals of the tournament. Let's just quickly recap this. We have on one side, we have Miranda Alize, who has defeated Alex Gracia. She defeated Nicole Savoy. She had to face a big challenge in Trish Adora, but she found a way to put her away with a submission win. And on her bracket, a lot of us felt as though Allison Kay was going to be the person who came out. So the fact that it was Miranda Alize, the Lucha Baddie, was a bit of a surprise. Now, on the other side of the bracket, somebody who everybody kind of thought was either going to be in the semifinals or go all the way to the finals, one was none other than Roxy, the Prodigy. But if we look at who Roxy had to get past, it was a pretty stiff challenge. Each person represented something different. When she faced Sumi Sakai, she was facing arguably the best women's wrestler in Ring of Honor, signed to Ring of Honor, who is a former Women of Honor champion. When she faces Quinn McKay, she's facing somebody who the crowd loves. The audience is definitely behind Quinn McKay, has a great look, and has been somebody that we've been rooting for and cheering for. Then she takes on Angelina Love, and granted, Angelina Love came into the match a little hurt, but Angelina Love is the top heel of Ring of Honor, and she is able to put away Angelina Love. And now the two of them they faced each other. They faced each other, and they have tagged together. Now face each other in the finals. Roxy taking on Miranda Alize. This is the second longest match of the night, because the Gresham and Woods went 20 minutes and 1 second. This went just over 18 minutes, but this was a really good match. My goodness. These are two women who, you know, for many people before this tournament, they did not know either of them. They would not have been able to pick them out of a lineup, especially if Miranda Alize was wearing her Lucha Baddie hat / mask. You would definitely not be able to pick her out. But after this tournament and after this match, you know who Roxy is. You know who Miranda Alize is. Miranda Alize is definitely dominating throughout this match. She is putting the hurt on Roxy. She's working this match as the heel, which made absolute sense. But Roxy was being cheered on by many of the people in the crowd, including her parents, who was there. And there's Dylan again. And this throughout the course of this match, Miranda is trying so hard to put Roxy away, but the underdog that Roxy is, she is finding ways to stay alive. She is finding ways to just survive, and that's really what the name of the game was. Miranda was kind of smothering her throughout this match, but she is able to slowly but surely turn the tide against Miranda Alize. And after 18 minutes and 13 seconds, she is now our Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. It was a really, really good match. I'm not sure if the picture is loading properly, if it's being weird. Oh, there it is. Now I can see it for sure. But this was a good match. I gave this one 4 stars, not just because of how good the match was, but a lot of times we talk about, and Ness, you were talking about this during the OGK Briscoes match, we're not always expecting a lot out of the match, out of certain matches. This match, while I expected good things, I didn't expect this. And one thing that I will say is I appreciate the Ring of Honor board of directors, minus Maria, deciding that they were going to give these women the time to put on such a great match. It's tough. This match is going to go longer than the main event. And to say that, you know, we're trying to put our best foot forward when it comes to this new women's division. We brought in people, you know, the talent that we could bring in. We're trying to pull this off. Let's see what we can do. You guys are the people who we have faith in. You know, we just signed Roxy to a long-term deal. We're putting our trust in you guys. Go out there and show out. And hey, Lucha Baddie, Prodigy, you guys did a very, very amazingly good job. Gave this one 4 stars. Like I said, Ness, we'll start with you this time. What did you think about this?
Yeah, I gave this match 4 stars. Very, very 4-star solid type of match. Big shout out to both of these ladies. You know, like you said, going into it, we kind of had an idea of who would be in the finals. Going through the one side of the bracket, definitely was going to be Roxy. There was no question in that. The fact that, you know, things started taking a couple different turns with Trisha Dora beating Alton Kay, and then Miranda Alize still, you know, on her rise, you know, going through Nicole Savoy and then Trisha Dora. As that was going along, her attitude started changing. That's something I, you know, I touched on a couple episodes of Fusion of Honor, where it was like she kind of was just happy to be there, but then she started saying, you know, like, oh, I gotta have this confidence. Like, I'm the star here. Like, I need to be Women of Honor champion. You know, like, that's, nobody has what I have. And her attitude started changing. You know, she started doing things like biting and like, you know, just under this slight subtle heel shit. So now we're at the final stage where we have the ultimate babyface and Roxy, who's nobody's going to boo her. like they're not going to boo her whatsoever. And then now you have the quote unquote Lucha Baddie, which again, I personally took Baddie for a whole nother meeting. Her baddie was me. Oh, you're a bad person. Oh, my bad. Excuse me. So it came down to that whole just that whole thing behind it, where it's like, oh, Miranda's saying like, oh, I have all this confidence and I'm a star. Roxy's like, look, you need more than just confidence. You know, you got to have the skill set. I'm confident as well. I'm confident in myself, knowing that I can beat you. And out there, all the punishment that she took from Miranda Alize, she went out and did just that. So it was a great showing. I'm glad that they gave these ladies time. Now going forward, the ball's in your court, Ring of Honor, to actually make this title mean something, and not just like, all right, we have our women's champion, then that was it. You know, you put all that effort into the title tournament. Now it's time to follow up with that. And I think they're going to they got a good shot at making their women's division legit, which they already started putting all these different talents in the women's division. Now that they have the blue chipper, so when they can build a division around in Roxy, it can only go up from there, you know, like, and it was a nice moment, you know, celebrating with her family, because it was great. It's good for her. You know, she's as young as she is. She still has way more years to go. And I feel that she has a lot more years to learn even more and hone on her craft as well, too. So 4 stars. Congratulations to both ladies, but definitely big ups to Roxy.
Dylan, how about you?
Yeah, I love this match. It would have been my match of the night if it wasn't for Woods and Gresham just killing it. But yeah, this was great. I want to talk about sitting next to them, which was kind of funny. Because so what happened was me and my friend got there, and I looked to our left, and there's stickers on these two seats saying reserved. And throughout the entire arena, there's no other seats with the words reserved. You buy your tickets online and you select your seats, you know? So I was like, okay, we're definitely something's going on here. And they just sat next to us, and they just had the I can't speak, Prodigy shirts on. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. And her mom actually teared up doing her promo earlier in the night. So that's when I realized, okay, put two and two together. It's definitely their parents. And me and my friend actually got to talk to her dad about her training with Booker T. It was pretty neat. Yeah, because I was talking to my friend about it, and her dad chimed in and was like, "Oh yeah, Booker T." You know what I mean? So it was pretty cool experience, and it was absolutely the right choice. Roxy, bona fide star, and she has bundles of potential. Like, she's already so good in the ring and has such good charisma, and she's a star. Like, there's no way to doubt it. And Miranda Alize, so good. She played the perfect heel and was the perfect competitor for this match, especially because I don't know, her interactions with the crowd throughout the match were so good because there were fans chanting like dumb stuff, and because it was the same ref as the Woods and Gresham match, if you noticed. So fans were chanting dumb stuff to the ref, and Alize, I think, told her to shut up or whatnot. It was good stuff. It was really great work between these two, and I gave it a 4.25 out of 5. Really good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, I love the match.
Yeah, I gotta say, Roxy, for all of her talent and all of her potential, she chose, to me, at least right now, she chose smartly with the promotion that she's signing long term with, because Impact has Diana, AEW has Britt and Thunder Rosa. WWE has their plethora of women.
WWE
never revolving door of the
has
same
their
floor.
plethora
Yeah.
of women. Unless she was gonna go to, and NWA has Camille. They're not gonna be taking that title off of Camille for some time.
Yeah.
So knowing all of that and knowing where she needed to be positioned, signing with Ring of Honor was a smart choice.
Yeah.
So just on top of the fact that she has the youth and the potential, she also clearly has a brain for the business as well, because she knows that if she stays with Ring of Honor, she's going to have a very, very good career. And she definitely can go to one of those other companies down the road, but when she goes there, she'll be able to say something along the lines of, I'm a 5 or 6 time Women of Honor, a world champion. She will then be the Angelina Love. Like, when it comes to those promos where Angelina's like, I'm a 7-time women's champ. Like, how do you not know that you're going to lose? Roxy will have so many different avenues, whether she continues to be a face, whether she is a heel, whatever company she goes to. But she was very, very smart in picking to stay with Ring of Honor. And of course, that leads us to our final match of the night. It is our World Championship Four Corners elimination match. We have Bandido, the most wanted champion, putting his title up against Flamita. Again, not really much demonic about him. EC3, and Dylan's favorite, Brody King. So this was I thought it was a well thought out match. I liked it. EC3 is there for basically a cup of coffee when it comes to the match. But Flamita wisely brings in a chair and introduces the chair, uses the chair, gets EC3 to use the chair, and gets EC3 disqualified because of that. And I gotta say, I like the moment. I don't know, you guys probably weren't able to catch it but we caught it on the recording on the pay-per-view side of things, where Flamita says, "I'm smarter than you, idiot," in Spanish to EC3.
That's so
and
good.
I think it was, I thought it was a hilarious way to get rid of EC3 in this match, because Flamita controlled EC3's narrative. EC3 came in there thinking he was going to win and all this stuff, and Flamita was like, no. He's doing the Matumbo thing, and he's like, I'm going to control what happens to you. I'm going to Eddie Guerrero your ass. Get out of here. So the match continues. We have some key moments where we see Bandido and Flamita's back acne making an appearance in this match as the reunion of Mexa Blood and Mexa Squad. In this match, they say, we got to take on Brody King. We got to do what we got to do, even if that means one of us potentially dying.
Oh my God, bro! That spot was. Oh my God!
Even if it means one of us potentially dying, but this match had everything, a little bit of everything. Oh, that was earlier when EC3. I put the wrong numbers, but let's go back to this insane little bit of daredevilry, shall we? They attempted to. I guess what confused me about this was Bandido was like so willing to just have Flamita back in the fold. Let's see if he was like, "Oh, you want to tag together? Oh, sure." Like you weren't an asshole to me for the past 4 months or nothing like that or anything. But what I will say is I liked that I won't say prediction, but my hope came true, that it was not Bandido who eliminated Flamita. It was, in fact, Brody King. And from when Brody King eliminated Flamita and this match turned into a singles contest, I got to say, I thought that there was a very good chance that Brody King was going to walk away with the world title. But Bandido showed that he can find ways to win. It doesn't matter how small you are. All that matters is your dedication, your consistency, and your willingness to win. He will pull out the win. He will remain our world's champion after 17 minutes and 9 seconds. I gave this match. This one was hard for me to kind of rate, just because I felt as though EC3 should have stayed in for longer. I get what they were trying to do, and maybe they were trying to also, I don't know, maybe protect EC3 in some way. But I felt as though they could have, knowing what they wanted to do, they could have kind of delayed that for a little bit later in the match and had a little bit more of that four-way dance feel to it. Because after EC3 left, it kind of turned into a 2-on-1 match where Mexa Squad's doing this reunion thing. And then eventually, Brody's able to separate them, and he pins Flamita, and then it seemed like after that they just kind of rushed into the finish, where Bandido's going to find a way to get the win. So, especially coming off of that really good Roxy Miranda Alize match, I gave this one 3.5 stars. But I will say that one prediction or hope that I had did come true as well afterwards, when we see. Oh man, the righteous show up, and they are congratulating Bandido on his win, because we know that Vincent has a world title shot in his back pocket, thanks to beating Matt Taven at Glory by Honor in that cage match. And we see that Vincent still has that crown that Taven used to wear. And I will say, I'm going to love that feud, because Bandido is a pure babyface, Vinny is a pure asshole, and the two of them with their promos together, we're going to get a lot of this stuff because it's, I don't know, Vinny's weird like that. But it's also going to be a well-told, I think, story of good versus evil. Again, I really wish that they had saved the Roosh pulling off of the mask thing for Bandido, even though, we understood in that moment how much Roosh knew this is a fucked up thing and you should not be doing it. But I think it would have had a little bit more symbolism, a little bit more meaning if it had been Vinny now in this feud who's going after the mask. And I just hate when they do like the obvious, oh, he's a luchador, let's try to rip off his mask. Like after a while, it can get a little old, a little boring, but this is going to be a really, really good feud. But for the match, I gave it 3.5 stars. Dylan, we'll start with you this time. What did you think about this one?
Alrighty. So, again, big Brody King fan. But I got a free sticker from so there was some dude in the crowd just going around handing out these stickers for, and I thought Braun was actually gonna come just because some dude was in the crowd giving these out,
Oh,
which would have
right,
been
yeah.
crazy. But yeah, so I got that. The EC3 elimination. It wasn't for me. I don't know. I felt like it was just way too forced, and it just, I don't know, didn't work for me. But once, and then as well, Flamita and Bandido teaming up again was weird. It was really weird because they've been in like this. Flamita's been wanting to kill Bandido, like, because wasn't it like last
when
week
he turned and broke up Mexa Squad, Ness was in here crying real tears.
Yeah, like he's
My
like
heart hurt my heart.
so. That was really weird. Just for them to just straight up be like, hey, why not? Let's take out like so. But overall, once it came down to Bandido and Brody King, that I love that section. That section of the match was fantastic, as well as a little side comment. Roxy's parents went to the back or whatnot, and I kind of moved over a little bit so the pole was
there
in
you
my way.
go. No,
There we go. But Bandido and Brody have really great chemistry. I would love to see more of that in the future. I don't know how I feel about Vincent, and like this Vinny and his whole stable. I'm gonna have to wait to see how this plays out, honestly. To see kind of, but first impressions, it's cool, it's interesting, it's unique. I just want to wait till it plays out. But yeah, overall, I gave the match a 3 out of 5. It was an okay match. It wasn't anything that blew my socks off, but it was just a solid match to close out the night. And yeah, it was an overall good show, honestly.
Yeah, Ness, what did you think about this one?
I gave this match 3 3/4 stars. Again, another solid match. Yeah, I gotta talk about what was weird to me in this match as well. Definitely the EC3 elimination. A Four Corners match. There shouldn't be no disqualifications like that. In my opinion, that was stupid. That was dumb. That was dumb. Oh, he used a chair. Like, all right, well, how can you really, put restraints on these guys? It's already a car crash. It's already the rest is there for the pin, honestly. The pin or the call for the submission. These guys could have fought outside the ring. You got 2 guys in the ring, 2 guys out of the ring. You want to disqualify the guys that are out of the ring that aren't in for the 10 count, something like that. So I thought that was dumb. But yeah, whatever. I really didn't think that was smart to have that type of elimination. I guess it's okay because EC3 doesn't take a pinfall loss and he's just DQ'd. So that's the only sense I can make about that. But yeah, I didn't think that was a good idea whatsoever. Again, just like you guys just said, definitely Dylan, that Flamita and Bandido working together, I thought that was going to last for about 2.5 seconds and that was going to be the end of it. This was going on for a little bit of time. Then the thing that would really messed it up was Bandido was the one that fucked up their working together because he was trying to he tries to go to lift Flamita up, so I guess Flamita can do the flip or whatever, and then he like slipped or dropped them and to a power bomb and then tries to go and pin him, and then they just go back to like trying to work together again. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
It was weird.
It was weird. It was already weird, one, because again, these guys hate each other, or Flamita hates Bandido, to our understanding up at this point. And then it's just like, oh, it's all right. It's Mexican Squad all over again, Mexican Blood. We're cool for, I didn't try to rip your mask off and make your life a living hell. I didn't try to beat up my former friend and one of your best friends in Ray Horus. I didn't try to do any of that. That goes out of the window. We just need to beat Brody King here. So I'm like, oh, okay, you guys forgot all of that. And then again, the botch happens, and then they go back to like trying to, somewhat work with each other. But with that aside, it was a solid match. I like the fact that it came down to Brody King, pretty much the one guy out of this match that if it wasn't going to be Bandido to win, that's who I was expecting to get the victory because he was just the biggest threat to Bandido and everybody else in this match. So Bandido and Flamita actually working together to conquer Brody King, yeah, that made sense. It also made sense that it didn't work out for them because, again, they're not on good terms anymore. and for the fact that there was going to be some type of dissension in between them, and it happened. I just think that the execution of that dissension could have been a little bit better. It would have been better if Flamita just straight up continued to be the asshole that he was. It just they
Exactly.
just for that spot, they kind of like switched their roles, and it kind of, I didn't feel bad for him when it actually happened, but I was like, well, damn, man, that kind of sucks. Like, Bandido's the good guy here. You got him looking like he's the asshole by power bombing Flamita and then going for the pin. But all in all, it was a solid match. I'm happy that Bandido retained because I'm a huge Bandido fan. Definitely didn't want him to. I mean, he kind of still feels like a transitional champ, but if he would have lost, that would have definitely solidified him being transitional champ. So I'm glad that they're continuing to let him have a run.
Yeah, I think when Bandido and Flamita started teaming up, they should have cut to backstage just to show Ray Horus like trashing everything around. Like, what?
Yeah,
This man trying to kill me.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Like, it was definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I think it was a pretty solid main event to close out the night, and I like the vending part coming out. So, guys, we're gonna do as we always do to close out pay-per-view reviews. We will do our MVP of the night. We will do our LVP of the night. I think we are all. I think we can get match of the night out of the way. I think we are all agreed that it is Josh Woods beating.
Before we do
Josh.
that,
Sure.
You want to talk about the foundation coming out?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Gresham, because we definitely got to talk about that.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I completely blanked on that one. Dylan, start us off with that. What do you think about Gresham and the foundation coming out?
There's definitely a lot of sexual tension between Gresham and that heavyweight belt. So that was definitely interesting. I was really thinking Gresham was going to turn tonight. I really thought he was going to attack or something. The thing that interests me is I wonder if they are going to turn the entire foundation or just Gresham, because I think either, especially now that they don't have belts, I think either of those could work really well. It just kind of depends on where the rest of the chips fall in terms of like the other belts and things like that. But Gresham versus Bandido would be awesome. I think we can all agree with that. That would be an amazing match. And Jay Lethal also still an amazing promo. I saw a comment on like Reddit or something like that saying Jay Lethal is so good at talking about nothing. Because he just kind of he just talks, but it's just good. He just flows. It's really good. Yeah. There's really not much else to add besides that. Vinny was just kind of up there, like dancing the entire time. So it was a decent little way to close out the night, though. Especially with Jay Lethal kind of sending everyone home, like we're wrestling pretty much. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was solid.
Ness, what did you think about it?
Yeah, Dylan definitely just threw a whole different dynamic in there. No, because the foundation, they don't have any titles. So, and just my personal opinion, something that kind of never really sat well with me, but I just never really spoke on it, was the fact that I've always felt that the foundation was led by two alpha males, which is Jonathan Gresham and Jay Lethal. Now, Lethal, it's Jay Lethal, it's Jay Lethal. I'm just going to leave it at that. We know who Jay Lethal is, what he's done. He's, the greatest first generation wrestler and all that good stuff. But Jonathan Gresham, as soon as he got that, the pure title, I think it slowly was turning him, now granted, at the time it was Roosh as world champion, or it didn't even matter who was whatever champion. Jonathan Gresham was pretty much saying that I am the champion of Ring of Honor. Right. And he was letting it go to his head. I really feel as though like that was just an underlining story that was going on, that we would see bits and subtle little pieces of it, but it was nothing that they really tried to blow up to the audience. Like you just literally just had to catch it as long as you were watching. Now the fact that he came out as he's congratulating Bandido, doesn't look Bandido at all in the face. He's looking at the title the whole time. So it's kind of like Bandido's really sitting there like, thank you. And he's just like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Congratulations and all that good stuff. But as he's just like, the world, the Ring of Honor,
Pretty much,
the world title. So again, and then on another dynamic of that, it seemed like Jay Lethal was kind of like trying to draw him back in, like, just give the guys props and let's go on about our business. Because at the end of the day, out of everybody in that match, EC3, he's still on the fence. You don't really know where you're gonna go with this guy. He's pretty much just worrying about his narrative. He's not really a face, not really a heel, anything of that nature. More so of a face, but he can switch up depending on who he's facing off with. Brody King, obviously, the foundation didn't want that to happen. The Demonic Flamita, again, they're not really worried about him, but again, he's demonic, so of course they don't want him with the Ring of Honor World title. So their best bet was for Bandido retain. But now we're at a point where it's like, what's going on? Because they don't have any titles. I can see if they do turn, if it's just Gresham, that will make sense because he might feel as though he's been carrying the foundation for all this time, and like now he's going to feel like a loser like the rest of them because he was the only one with the title at one point. Or can he get Brett Titus and Tracy Williams to turn with him because Jay Lethal is just that, I'm here for pure wrestling. We're here to do things right by the nature. At some point maybe Jonathan Gresham is just like, yo, fuck that shit. We gotta we want championships. We don't care about none of this pure shit anymore. I just want to I want a title back. God damn it. Yeah. Like, I don't know how you guys feel about it. You would feel like Jay and just want to do everything right, and it could be that type of dissension. But again, not rushing it because I feel as though that's an underlying story that they have been telling, but it just wasn't out in the open. You really have to pick up on the signs to see it. So if that's the route that they're going to go, let them continue that story. There's no reason to rush. It's kind of throwing a monkey wrench in the plans because again, my opinion was, let Bandido retain, continue this title reign, possibly up until Final Battle, and then he comes head to head with Vincent and things of that nature. But now with this other dynamic going on with Jonathan Gresham, I'm really excited and intrigued to see where they go with it, as far as the Ring of Honor World Championship.
And I wanted to throw 2 comments in as well. Another fun factor could be, as well as with the ROH dojos, could see like where those people align in terms of the foundation and everything like that, as well as one comment too. Alex Zane does now have a title, like a clean title shot, so keep that in mind as well in terms of like where everyone lines up with that too. It's something to note. I would love to see Alex Zane versus any of those 3 guys.
Yeah, and
sure.
the other thing to also keep in mind is, when this originally started, it was Foundation versus LFI. And it was 4 guys against 4 guys. Well, 3.5. Bestias, there. Then we added Violence Unlimited. Okay, so now it's still 3 teams of 4. Now maybe we have the Righteous in the mix.
Yeah.
There's 4 people there. One's a woman. Maybe they're going to be in the process of recruiting somebody. Who knows? We'll have to see. So there's a lot of different ways that they can go with this, and we'll have to see how that takes place. I think we may have lost Dylan, but let's we'll try to go through as we wait for him. We'll try to get our MVP, our match of the night out of the way, which I think we are. I think even he is in agreement on that one, where it is definitely what's his name? The Woods and Gresham in their match. And we got it back. Okay.
Hi.
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone was about to die, so I had to run and grab a charger real quick.
Oh, no worries. Bro. we're wrapping up. But I think we are all kind of agreed on match of the night. I think we know that it is the Gresham and Woods match for match of the night. So let's do we'll start with LVPs. Who is our least valuable player for the pay-per-view. This is kind of tough for me because everybody had a pretty good showing. I think I'd probably have to go with LSG for, being there in the match, but not really contributing much to the match. Besides that, I would probably say maybe just Todd Sinclair as a rule. Because why not Todd Sinclair? But Ness, we'll start with you. Who is your LVP of the night?
I'm going to go with Kenny King solely because he thought that he was doing something, taking out Shane Taylor, ends up losing the match anyway. He's the one that he takes the pin.
That's fair. Can't blame you for that one. Dylan, how about you?
Excluding the stuff from the Honor Rumble, because that was kind of like, it was just out there. Either maybe LSG, maybe I would even throw EC3 in there. He really kind of didn't do much throughout the main. He just kind of came in, did his entrance, ate a chair shot, and then threw one back. It was kind of, But yeah, I would say between those two, honestly.
That's fair.
Actually, no. It's the poll in front of me. That was that was that.
There we go. Fuck that poll. Fuck that poll. MVP of the night. Ooh, this one's even tougher. Damn.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do co-MVPs. I'm gonna go Josh Woods and Jonathan Gresham. I think they, had the match of the night and they told an interesting story in the match, and they knew coming in. I think they knew coming into it, they could have just done a regular Pure Rules match and we would have loved it. It would have been match of the night. It would have been amazing. But telling the story the way they did, taking that risk, I think paid off very well for them. So I'm going to give them my co-MVP as the night. This time, Dylan, we'll start with you. Who is your MVP of the night?
Honestly, I would argue Roxy over them two, because although, like you were saying, the storytelling aspect of the match, Roxy really has a lot on her shoulders. She's 19 years old. Like, that is something to be completely aware of. Like, she has a lot of potential, and for them to give her the belt, and especially because Chelsea Green even hinted at a feud with her. I was expecting Chelsea Green to be there that night, honestly, and coming out. Because if on commentary during her last match, Chelsea Green was like, oh, if Roxy wins, I want a match against her.
Yeah.
So I think Roxy definitely was the MVP of the night. Either, of course, Gresham and Woods could easily take it, but I think Roxy deserves a shine for that.
That's fair. I like that one. Ness, how about you?
I'm going to go a different route. Instead of giving, because I want to give it to any other champion, the champions that either retained or won new titles. I'm gonna go with Alex Zane for winning the Honor Rumble. Now he has a shot at the Ring of Honor World Championship in his back pocket. So
that's
good.
That's fair.
As long as he doesn't take as long as Flip Gordon did.
Yeah, please, don't do that.
That was like 387 years
for no reason. It felt at all. Well, he was already waiting. Then COVID hit, and then he came back, and we were still waiting after the fact.
Yeah,
that's fair. All right, guys. So now we do thumbs in the middle, and on 3, 2, 1, we do thumbs up or thumbs down on the pay-per-view. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I think this was a solid pay-per-view. I give this, I think if I'm total out of 10, I think I want to give this one like a 7.5, almost 8, maybe. 8 seems like maybe a little strong because there were some hiccups here and there, but this was a really solid pay-per-view. And as we now know, it is going to be the last pay-per-view of 2021 with fans. So Ring of Honor is not going to be trying to take more of Dylan's money for the rest of the year, having to continually run the 2300 arena. But this was overall a really good pay-per-view. It's got me looking forward to seeing where they're going to take things from here for the rest of the year. And I feel as though this pay-per-view is kind of a turning point for a lot of different storylines where they're going to be able to set there are things being set up now that aren't even going to be for Final Battle, but will be for 2022. We know Ness and I, we always talk about ROH does a pretty good job of having all these different plates spinning at the same time. The plates on the straws. That they, the magic trick of keeping all the plates spinning, they've done a really, really good job. And I think that bringing in people like Alex Zane, adding Taylor Rust, going with Roxy, having the title now in Josh Woods, they are, taking some plates off of straws, but they're putting more plates on straws. And so they're going to continue to move things forward. Ness, if you had to give this pay-per-view out of 10, what would you give it?
I give it 7.75. Almost want to give it an 8. Like, this is a little bit that didn't get to the 8, but still, it was very, very good, very solid.
We know that Dylan would give this pay-per-view a 10 out of 10 if he could take an axe to that pole. But
exactly.
Dylan, what do you give this pay-per-view?
I would honestly give it an 8 out of 10. Again, I had the live view experience, so obviously my rating might be a little bit skewed. But honestly, there wasn't a bad spot throughout the night. There wasn't anything that I was like, you know what I mean? The only thing that really made me kind of be disappointed was the easy face spot. But even then, that wasn't like, it had its purpose, And the things that could have made the pay-per-view better, if all the matches stayed the same, but if they just changed the order of them, I think it would have flowed better. Honestly, really, it was a really great show, and I'm really looking forward to see where they go. It felt like a very big night. You know what I mean? There were a lot of stories that either ended, got started, or there was a lot of things that got shifted around, especially with the Pure division. That's coming out of this, the Pure division as well as the women's division, I am miles excited for. Like, those are going to be amazing, and I'm really looking forward to see where they take it.
I think that Ring of Honor knew coming into the night that this was going to be their last pay-per-view in front of fans for the year, so they wanted to make sure that this was kind of a final battle feel. Like, it had that their version of WrestleMania kind of feel, and that they made sure to make a statement on where exactly they're going to be going forward. But speaking of statements, let's all take a moment now to thank you guys for tuning in to this Fusion of Honor special, this review of Death Before Dishonor. Remember to hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe. And now, Ness, tell the people where they can find you on the social medias.
You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at skinny__Kravitz, right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. One half of Fusion of Honor. One man at the StatKing, the man of 1,004 numbers. We review MLW Fusion and Ring of Honor. Once again, thank you, Dylan, for joining us on this Death Before Dishonor review. You can also catch me on Blunt Impact, Georgia Jabronis with Chris G. We review Impact Wrestling. You can also catch me on NX3. Reviewing NXT.
I was waiting for this one.
Because god damn it, we just had the live watch along. God, I don't know how long I'm gonna be doing that every week.
Romeo swore he said 800,000 viewers. What do you think after watching those episodes? Because both of you watched it actually. So what do you think? 800,000 viewers, more than NXT's gotten in the past 3 months?
Nah, I mean people will tune in to see what was going to go on, and once they see it, they're not going to tune back in.
I agree with that. I was really not a big fan of that NXT show last night.
Now it was a lot that I did like, but the majority of the shit that I didn't, that's what really made it was just so much shit. Like, literally, it was just a lot of shit going on.
Yeah. But yeah.
Dylan, I don't know, it's up to you if you want to share any social medias or anything like that.
I really don't have much to plug. Just thanks for having me on. It was a blast. And yeah, hope to see you guys around. Just holler if you want me to come on again. I'm always down.
Definitely.
But,
always welcome, bro. Always welcome.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it was awesome talking to you. But yeah.
Yeah, and you guys can catch me on Dark Power covering AEW Dark, AEW Elevation, and of course NWA Power. So guys, thank you once again for tuning in to this review. Thank you once again, Dylan, for appearing on this review with us. We always like to be able to have a live somebody who is a live person, you are a person, but a live viewpoint of what was going on at the show. Once again, guys, remember to hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe, and remember, as always, to take care of yourselves and each other, and we will catch you guys next time. Peace.